2026. That was 2017 or 18. I started to do research with no formal connection, contact, agreement, or anything. It's just pure passion. So in practical terms, what it meant was, and this has been replicated with a number of clubs since, literally reading every minute book that they have, going through all of the archives, the boxes that are underneath water tanks that are stuck up in the attic, and everything that people say, well, no, I've looked in there, there's nothing there, and saying, well, that's fine, I'm still going to go and have a look. And I think what we've realized is that everybody sees golf differently, and golf means something different to them. So you can have a very astute member who loves history and club heritage, but if they live and die for club championships, past captains, and honorary members, when they look at the information that the club has about architecture or course changes, that they're just they'll gloss over it, and it's not a indictment on them. It's just that they're looking at that through one particular set of eyes. So I think when you've got an appreciation and an understanding, one thing that came out of the research at St. George's Hill was that we found a list of honorary members. And this is the good and the great of golf from the early 20th century. And I don't know if that list has been made public by the club yet, so I won't go too far because I think they might have some plans for it. But needless to say, it was the who's who of golf in the early 20th century. And they were honorary members of the club and had been involved with the club and around the club. And in the sands of time, it just had been lost. That information just no longer was accessible. So when we found it, it was quite interesting to be able to say, do you realize that these people, were part of your club? And some of the members, or others, well, who is it anyways? And we started explaining, well, this person was responsible for this, and they played this role, and they won this tournament. It's quite fascinating. It's one of those ones about meticulously going through everything at your disposal that the club has to start weaving this tapestry of a club's history, heritage, and identity. And it's amazing that even at these big clubs that are considered world top 100 clubs and courses, these institutions of the game, sometimes even those things have been lost at those big clubs, which most people look at and say, well, they've got all the resources in the world, why would they, and it's, well, yeah, sometimes things just fall by the wayside.
I guess it's one of those things that needs individuals, doesn't it, to really pick it up and carry it on. And I mean, I know at my own club that there's very, very little attention paid to the history whatsoever. And we're at James Braid Golf Course, and there's 400 and something of those dotted around the place, and that's not notable in itself. But when you start to, I sort of dug and looked at it a little bit, and that's really only scratching the surface. There's a lot to be saying. Do you think this sits in every club, provided you haven't had a massive clubhouse fire at some point in your history or something? Do you think it sits in every club and it's there, it just needs digging out?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, there are those. There are, unfortunately, there's a lot of clubs where they'll have a meticulous individual who comes in and says, right, we're gonna sort this out, and it all gets thrown in the bin, because why would you want those old dusty books that were from 1912? And it's like, well, it's ancient. So I think sometimes well-meaning individuals have effectively erased the history of clubs because they haven't found the value or seen the value or appreciated what they had. I do think there are a lot of clubs that have that. They maybe think that they've seen it or looked at it, or they have an understanding of what they have or what they're sitting on, but they don't. And I think St. George's Hill is another good example of that.